Okay, so in this video we're writing the equation of a parabola using the rules that we talked about a couple videos ago, but this time we're not given a graph. Instead, we're given the point where the focus lives. So for each of these parabolas that we're about to create the equation for, the vertex is at 0, 0. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so in the first one, we want to look back at our notes. You have the luxury of having your notes on paper and being able to flip back. I'm doing this from memory, okay? But for the first one, this is our focus. So our focus is at 4, 0. We had a rule that said if our focus is at p, 0, at p, 0, then the parabola opens left or right. We went on to say that the equation of the directrix was x equals negative p, and the actual equation of the parabola itself was y squared equals 4px. So this is the directrix, and this was the parabola itself. So now what we want to do is, obviously based on this rule, p is 4. So we're just going to plug in all that information now. So that means our directrix is now x equals negative 4. And plugging in for p, we have y squared equals 4 times negative 4, or sorry, 4 times positive 4. 4 times positive 4x. So y squared equals 16x. Now, I would like to be able to graph this as much as possible. So my calculator only graphs y, does not graph y squared. So to get rid of square, I need to do square root. But since my power is even, I need to consider plus or minus. So I have y equals plus or minus the square root of 16x. So that's the equation of my parabola. Now, what you would have to do to graph this one, since it has plus or minus, in y1, to take your calculator cannot do plus or minus like that. So you would have to split it up into two separate graphs. So y1 would be the positive square root of 16x, and then y2 would be the negative square root of 16x. Okay, so that's going to give you this graph here. Okay, so what I would recommend right now is to try to graph these two equations. You're going to see that the parabola opens to the left and right, like I said, and you're also going to see that the focus is at the point 4, 0, and that your directrix, if you actually graph that, x equals negative 4, is going to be a vertical line. Now, when you're done, after you pause this, I'm going to have all of this erased, and we're going to do the second problem. It's going to be the exact same process. I'm going to use the rules that are in your packet to find out, based on what the focus is, does my parabola open left and right, or does it open up and down? Based on that, what's the equation for my directrix, and what's the equation for the parabola itself? So when you come back, this will be erased, and we'll do the second problem. Alright, so now we're on to the second problem. We're given the focus, and again, if you flip back through your rules and look at how the focus was, what you want to see is that the focus, if it's at 0, p, then the parabola opens up or down. And the directrix has an equation of y equals negative p, and the parabola itself has an equation of x squared equals 4py. What we need to do is figure out what p is. Well, based on this rule that we found in our notes, 0, p. So here, for this particular problem, p is equal to 1/2. Now, using that information, I'm going to plug in. So my directrix is now has the equation y equals negative 1/2, and my actual parabola has the equation x squared equals 4 times 1/2 y. I want to clean that up as much as possible, so x squared equals 2y, and I want to be able to graph this. So to get y by itself, I'm just going to divide by 2. So y equals x squared divided by 2. My calculator has no problem graphing y by itself, so that's the equation of my parabola. If you graph this, what you're going to see is that this parabola actually opens up and down. The directrix, if you graph it, is going to be a horizontal line, and our focus is going to be on the inside of our parabola. So given the focus, if you pay attention to your notes and where P is in the focus, then you're going to have no problem writing an equation for the parabola. So take your time, watch this as many times as necessary. That's it.